News reporter by day, ballroom dancer by night. At least for 3 of the years of Dancing with Our Stars, WBAY-TV2, Emily Matesic joins us for this edition of the DWOS Diaries. Em, always great to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me. I've been watching this. It's really been a fun trip down memory lane, Sean.
And now it's your turn to be on there, and we're going to put your memory to the test. You first participated in the 2013 event. Take me back to how that all came to be.
I had attended the event several years, and in 2012, I happened to be sitting at the WBAY table next to Bev Carmichael, who was the wife of our general manager at the time, Don Carmichael, and she said, "Hey, why aren't you out there dancing?" And I said, "Well, because I'm only a reporter, and they only pick the anchors to do it." And that was sort of the end of the conversation. So that Saturday night, come Monday morning, Tom McCary, the news director at the time, comes over to my desk and says, "Oh, so I understand you're doing Dancing with the Stars next year." And I'm like, "What?" He said, "Well, Bev Carmichael said you're doing it." So that's how I ended up with the 2013 cast of characters for DWTS.
You mentioned previously attending
I guess the first reporter. Everyone else had been an anchor or something. I was the first reporter from Channel 2 to participate.
You're breaking down the barriers.
Oh, yeah.
What did you thought the previous few years when you'd attended? What did you think of the event?
Oh, it was a great event. I'd been there. The first time I went was when Sarah and Chris danced that year. That was my first event, so that was fun. That was a great event. Following year, I saw Catherine dance. I think I sat a little bit closer that year, and then the the year before I participated was sitting in the like second row table with the WBAY crew. That was when Matt and Rebecca danced, and so really, I mean, a great event, super fun. Loved watching Dancing with the Stars. You know, watch the show on TV. Grew up dancing in my kitchen with my parents who loved to dance. So always a great event, and was excited to participate.
So here's a picture of your crew. We had the kickoff party for you guys at Lambeau Field, and a great group there, of course, headlined by Bettina and Donald Driver. So when the announcement came down that they were going to be participating, Donald had just come off winning the Mirror Ball on the TV show. What were your thoughts?
Oh, I mean, the pressure was on. I mean, I'm competitive, and I think I grew up in Pittsburgh. Everybody knows I'm a Steelers fan, and Hines Ward had won previously, right before Donald Driver, and then it was Donald Driver's turn. So I was like, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to beat the Drivers. I'm going to win. I'm going to represent Pittsburgh, and I'm going to win this thing. Notice I'm holding the mirror ball, right?
You
in
are,
this
yeah.
picture. I was confident I was going to go out there, and I was going to beat the Drivers. Forget the fact that he actually won, the show. I was going to go out there and I was going to win it.
Did you?
Oh, there they are.
Did you talk with them at all that night? And if you did, anything you remember from that conversation?
I did. Yeah, I just remember meeting them. Very nice, and I think I threw a jab in there. I'm a Pittsburgh fan. Hines Ward season. Look out! I'm going to go down. I'm bringing my terrible towels to cheer me on at the event. So just super nice people. Was excited to be in their cast.
Do you remember choosing the songs and dances that you were going to do from that season? And if you do, what went into all of that decision making?
There was actually Michael Bublé song "Home" that Rock, who was my boyfriend at the time, he and I always really liked that song. So I thought we would dance. I would dance to that for my smooth, right? But Michael Moody at the time, he was like, "Oh, it's a little too slow. We'll find you something else." So I ended up dancing to Edwin McCain song. And then I knew for my swing, I knew Morse Code of Love is my parents' favorite song. And so I knew I wanted to dance to that song, kind of as a tribute to my parents that year.
Oh, very sweet. So you were one of, I believe, the first one of that team to do a fundraising event. So walk us through that. What do you remember from your event over at Aloft?
I did a celebrity bartending event. I mean, I you know, I think the dancing is sort of the easy part of dancing uh, with our stars. The dancing is the easy part. I thought the fundraising was the hard part. I'd actually been to an event. It was a celebrity. I use that term very loosely. Bartender. I think it was an event for the Brown County Dog Park. And so I'd done an event there, and so I approached a loft and said, "Hey, can I host an event here? And they give you proceeds of the bar tab to your fundraiser." And they were like, "Sure." So Steve and Laura from Star 98 helped me out in this picture, and Don Barclay, he was a rookie Packer, actually grew up in Pittsburgh. Had some friends of my family are friends with him, and he was actually, this was his rookie season. Was coming in, some injuries on the offensive line happened, and Don Barclay was a starting lineman as a rookie in Green Bay. So I was like, "Hey," I'm like, "Don, you want to like come help me out?" And he was like, "Absolutely." You know, he was kind of like a no name, but was kind of becoming someone in the Green Bay Green Bay area. He'd been, I think he started like the week before this event was like his first start for the Packers, and I got him to come sling drinks at my fundraiser.
Great picture there. Of course, the
Oh, Bill and
WBAY
Cammy.
support.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, well, Cammy, as everyone knows, she's been part of the event every year, right? And then Bill is just a good guy and comes and supports everybody.
And then I know that we did the wingspan, and that's a big ass wingspan.
Yeah. Even Barb, look at the picture. Even Barb's like, "Whoa, that's really big." Yeah, you got to find the biggest guy there and do the big wingspan. There he is, Donnie Barclay. So funny. And I think didn't he brought or was supposed to bring another couple of guys with him. I'm trying to remember. I think the one guy was Van Roten, who I think is who he brought, but it looked like Van Rotten, right? That kid. And then there was another lineman that I think he was supposed to bring that didn't show up. But yeah, it was funny that all these rookie linemen were there supporting us.
You partnered with Jay Morth. He was your pro. Any fun memories from your rehearsals with Jay?
Oh, lots. Jay, I love Jay. I mean, at the time he was a college student. I initially was supposed to dance with Michael. And then Michael had too many dance partners. So I was like, "I'm going to give you to Jay." And I was like, "Oh, you're ditching me already." But honestly, I don't think I could have danced with Michael. I probably would have killed him. Jay and I had a great relationship. I mean, we're just very easygoing. Michael's a little too uptight, I think, for me. Um, a little too strict. But Jay was great. I think probably one of my favorites was Jay would always forget our choreography. And so we would be at practice and he would forget the steps. And I mean, he's leading me, so I'm just really following him. And he would forget the steps. So he would hand me we'd have this sheet of the choreography sheet. And the one day I think he like had a paper clip and we like literally paper clipped it to my shirt. And the next time we couldn't find a paper clip, so I was like carrying my choreography around in my mouth. Like there's a piece of paper hanging out of my mouth. And then finally I just started bringing a chip clip to practice, and I would chip clip our choreography to my shirt so that Jay could read the choreography and get us through our dance.
Whatever it takes, right?
But he was great. I mean, I love Jay. I mean, look at him. Was always willing to play around.
It's a great photo from the night of the event. So take me through 2013 in February. You're showing up at the Radisson. Walk me through the day and the night from your perspective as a star dancer.
Yeah, I mean, you show up and it's pretty relaxed. Everyone's very casual and do kind of the walkthrough of the Grand March and practice your dance. And of course, as we're going through it, Jay forgets the choreography. There was one part of our dance where he had to check, and he would always forget the check. So we're going through, and I'm like, "Check, Jay!" Like I would be yelling at him. He's like, "You can't yell when we're out there dancing." I'm like, "Okay, I won't." But and then I remember the Grand March, getting ready. I'm Chris Vanderheiden was walking me out, and Donald Driver was in front of me in line, and Chris looks over to me and he's like, "So how do you feel? Do you know your choreography?" And you know your dances? And I was like, well, I mean, if I don't, you know, too late now. And Donald Driver turns around and he looks at me, he's like, no. He's like, you gotta know it. You gotta know what you're doing out there. And I was like, oh, okay, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. It was just really, his competitiveness was coming out there. Like, you gotta know it. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm ready. I know it. Let's go. These are so fun to look at these pictures. Actually, I was thinking I had those glasses somewhere. I thought about wearing them tonight for this little interview, but the lenses are so I don't know what they are. They're just like distorted, and so like I couldn't really see. I do remember that. Like it was everything was like they were costume glasses, and they were awful to look through. They weren't clear.
So you had your family came in from out of town, and you know, how did you feel after the night was over?
Oh, I mean, it was great. I mean, what a great night. Yeah, I mean, my parents were in, a couple of aunts and uncles came in, table full of friends. I mean, really just, I mean, what a great event. You know, we raised a lot of money. That was obviously the drivers helped with that year, but at that time, I think we were the group that we had raised the most amount of money, our team. So it's just great and fun to be a part of that experience.
Net profit for that year, $370,000, which was phenomenal. And the previous record was the year prior, 2012, which was $150,000. The drivers outraised that themselves, $158,000. But I know Chris Roth, who was co-host with Cammie that night, he said very poignantly, if we remove the drivers' fundraising, the other participants still raised more than last year's record, which I think speaks volumes for you and everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great team. I mean, I know Sean Sanders, I think you talked to him. I mean, he did a phenomenal job. He talked about those festival cookies. I was always in there buying those cookies to support him. Like I needed another cookie, but right there. I think that's what I really liked about our team that year is that everybody really supported each other. It was great. Everybody went to everybody's fundraisers, and we really were like a family that year. I remember our very first dance lesson was kind of a group lesson that we did, and Jim Gagno, who kind of helped spur the event to begin with, he was there, and he was my very first dance partner, was Jim Gagno. I remember that night we would meet on Sundays and kind of dance as a group and sort of start to learn some of the basic steps. So really a great team. And you know, you see those people out, or you see them on Facebook, and you know, still kind of communicate and keep in touch. I mean, Mary Gronard, I love her. She was like the grandma, the mom of all of us. You know, every time I see Mary, just want to give her a big hug. So really just a great, fun group of people. I really think that we were the best team, and I participated 3 times. So that's, you know, we were the best.
Well, let's get to that second time. That yes, the dancing bug bit you again a few years later. This time for a newly derived team concept. Share how you made the decision to partake in the 2017 event.
I guess I don't even remember how I got myself roped into that. I think we'd gone to the event a couple of times, and Rock, and I said, let's do this together. And he was like, okay. And we were sort of newly engaged, and so we did it. Why not? Let's do it together. It was going to be a big year for us leading up to the event. So let's do it. Let's participate in this and see what happens, I guess.
So that team concept would take 2 people, such as you and Rock, and you'd fundraise together, but dance separately. It's not like you and Rock were dance partners. You each had your own pro partner, but you only had to do 1 dance as opposed to 2 dances previously. So 2 questions. One, or I guess 1 question with, well, 2 questions in 1 question. Was the fundraising and dancing easier this second go around?
Yes, I think they both were a little bit easier. One, I had been through it from the dancing perspective, so I kind of knew what to expect, and was dancing with Jay again. And then the fundraising, I had a partner in crime to help fundraise. Rock did a lot that year for our event, our casino night. He did a lot of going out and reaching out to different businesses to get some of our raffle prizes and different stuff like that. So that was kind of helpful to have somebody help. I mean, he helped me the first year I participated, but this year he really helped because he was in too.
The dance that you and Jay did had a very memorable ending, one of my all-time favorites in the history of Dancing with Our Stars.
Yeah.
We have the picture up here, so walk me through, how did this idea come about?
Sort of at the end of the dance, he was going to spin me around and kind of throw me across. I was going to slide across the floor, and just wasn't my thing. And so we were practicing one night, and the way we kind of ended, and he spun, I was like, Jay, I'm like, why don't I just lift you up? And he like looked at me, he's like, are you crazy? I was like, no. I'm like, why don't I just lift you up? I was like, everybody expects the man to do the lift. I was like, why don't we end with me doing the lift? And he was like, all right, let's do it. So we did. I mean, and this was, I mean, oh, what a moment. It was great. Like we nailed it, and it worked out perfectly, and I didn't drop him, and it was so great and just fun and amazing. And I mean, I think you see it in our faces. We were so excited that we got it.
The
I think it was a big shock to everybody because, again, nobody expects the woman to do the lift. They all expect the man to do the lift.
It was awesome. I loved it. And what about your man, Rock? How did he do fundraising and dancing wise? What's your review of him?
Oh, I thought he was great. He still wears that jacket sometimes, by the way. It's like still hanging in the closet. No, I mean, for a guy who never really liked to dance unless he had a lot of vodka in him, I think he was great. I was so proud of him to get out there and really put himself out there in that way. I mean, I'm definitely the more outgoing one in our marriage, the loud one, and Rock's sort of the reserved one. He's an observer, real kind of quiet sometimes. So for him to get out there and do this, and he was really into it. I mean, he really enjoyed it. And I mean, Mina, what a great partner he had with her, right, to really work with him. And he loved this so much that he wanted to do the following year.
Well,
He's the one that got us into that one.
That was my next question. So at the end of the 2017 event, we announced that 2018 would be the final year, an all-star event where we bring back past participants. So was there any question that you were going to be a part of that last cast?
I mean, I don't think you had asked me to be a part of it, but I was like, I kind of hope I get asked. I mean, I've done this twice already. I certainly hope I'm an all-star, right? And then Rock wanted to do it. He had so much fun that he wanted to do it again too. So I was like, let's do it. Let's do it. I mean, he loved it so much that we took lessons from Michael and Mina for our wedding dance, right? So we had to participate in the final year.
So as we march toward that final event, you had a health issue come up. So talk about that, and how did that impact your dancing?
Right. It was probably from that lift the year before, right? My back problem. No, I've been battling a back issue for years. Actually, all my pain was in my leg, and Rock kept telling me, well, there's something wrong with your back. I'm like, my back doesn't hurt. It's all in my leg. But yeah, I mean, I had a bulging disc and some other back issues. And so in October of 2017, October of 2017, I had lumbar fusion surgery. And the doctor had said to me, like, you're not going to be able to do anything for 6 months. And I had already committed to participating in Dancing with Our Stars. So I mean, do the math. If I was having surgery in October, was when in August I found out I had surgery, and surgery was scheduled for Halloween that October. And so it's like, okay, so October, September, or October, November, December, January, February, that's only 5 months. And the event was in the middle of the month, so it wasn't even 5 months later. And I was like, listen, I'm not having the surgery unless you can promise me that I can dance in February. And he was like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, no, like, I have to participate in this. He's like, well, what kind of dance are you thinking about doing? I was like, well, last year I lifted my partner. And he was like, what? He's like, you're not going to be lifting anybody. He said, but as long as keep it sort of easy and no crazy moves, you can probably get back on the dance floor. So I said, all right, let's do it. So I had surgery October 31st of 2017, lumbar fusion surgery, and supposed to be in a brace for 12 weeks. 6 weeks post surgery, I was out of my brace and was allowed to bend and touch my toes. That was right before Christmas, so I said to Jay, I was like, all right, Jay, I'm like, come January 1st, let's get after it. So we really only had like 6 weeks to prepare our dance, because I had been out of commission for a couple of months before that.
I remember you giving me the phone call. You were either driving to your sisters or from your sisters in Chicago. And I was not concerned at all because I could hear the confidence in your voice. And I've known you for a long time, ever since I moved to Green Bay in '05 when I was in radio, and see you on the beat when you're out on television. And you're just that, you've got that they called it with Coach Mike McCarthy, that macho Pittsburgh, And so I knew that you had the determination. When you said, I'm doing it, it's don't worry about it. I did not worry about it one bit. I told everybody else that I talked with, I said, Emily's going to do this. There's no way. No way.
Even at the kickoff party, I hadn't even had surgery yet. It was like a couple weeks before my surgery. So I was like, yeah, I'm here. I'm committing. Hopefully I'll be ready. And I remember calling Jay. I'd gone to the doctor. It was like the week before Christmas. I had gone to the doctor, and he told me that I didn't have to wear my brace anymore. And he's like, okay, bend over and touch your toes in the office that day. And I remember getting in the car, and I called my parents first, and I was like, I don't have to wear my brace anymore, and I'm allowed to touch my toes. And I was like, I gotta go, I gotta call Jay. And so I called Jay, and I was like, Jay, we're gonna dance, let's do it.
All right, so now we're at event weekend, and a moment that takes place on Friday night, you obviously had talked about with your mom prior to. So I know that your mom is a big fan of Maks. So what was that conversation like when you were able to tell her, Mom, you're going to be meeting Maks?
Oh, she was so excited. And then her next question is, what am I gonna wear? Because for anybody that knows my mom, she's always concerned with what are you gonna wear. And so she was really excited. So yeah, I mean, Maks touched her. Like she was and the other people in the picture, obviously Rock, my dad is standing behind me, and then it's my mom's best friend, Diane, and her husband Ken. And Diane and Ken and my parents, they love music and go dancing, and so this was quite a thrill for all of them to be able to meet Maks and PETA. And I think my dad and Ken were like talking to Maks about golf, because there were some weird like antique golf clubs up in this room at 335, so they were like swinging a golf club, working on their putting. But what a fun night. Really, really a lot of fun. And they had just gotten married too, and Rock and I had just gotten married, so we had a little talk about being newlyweds and stuff. So it was great. Wonderful, wonderful night. And my mom still talks about it. She got to meet Maks.
That's so special. And I know the next night, this fun picture was taken. So what's going on here?
Yeah, so those the three tallest ones, or my nephews, Matt, Tommy, and little TJ, and then Roxanne is the one with his finger up to his face, little Troy. They came to the event. I mean, look at how cute they are. They're all in their wedding tuxes, getting really a lot of use out of those wedding tuxes. All the boys were in the wedding, so they got to wear their tuxes again. And Maks and PETA had a son, and I was like, this is your life. Are you guys ready for 3 more boys? It was really funny. They were such good sports, hanging out and talking with the kids. And I'm sure these kids had plenty of Shirley Temples or Roy Rogers that night, lots of caffeine in them. Like they had a blast. They still talk about it.
Oh, sweet. So you take to the dance floor for your final dance, and
yes.
How are you feeling about that? Walk me through that moment.
Oh, it was special. I was disappointed I wasn't going to be lifting Jay up at the end. But it was great. Actually, my surgeon, Dr. Andrew Green from Neuroscience Group, he was there, because I told him, I was like, you fixed my back, now you got to buy a table to the event. So, so he did. So he was there. I mean, it was just great. Again, a lot of family. My nephews were there. My sister was there, and brother-in-law. you know, my mom and her best friend who had just beat cancer.
Wow.
You know, it was just really a special night. And I mean, I love Jay. You know, it was just such a joy to dance with Jay again. We really had fun. And it's like you're out there and you're doing this dance and you finish it and you're like, did I do okay? Like I didn't, you almost like don't even remember if you nailed all the steps because you're just sort of living in the moment. And that was great. And I loved that dress. That's one thing I love. Dawn was great with all the costumes every year. You know, really the team that helped put this event together really is kind of what makes it. From Dawn with the costumes, and you know, we always talk about the Hoochies, Barb and Sharon, the volunteers. I mean, it really, this was sort of the culmination of all of that. All of these, you know, the 3 years that I had participated, it all kind of came to an end, and the friendships that you had formed over the years, it really was just kind of a special, magical night almost.
And there's Rock.
There he is. He nailed his dance too. Yeah, I mean, he had a blast. I mean, it was just great to be able to do this with him again too. I mean, we both had our dances, and we both danced foxtrots that year. And I think Maks even said, so like, do you and your husband dance in the kitchen? And we do sometimes. I would always laugh. The Rock would get all serious, and he'd grab me in the foxtrot pose, and I would just start laughing. He's like, why can't you just dance with me? Why do you always have to laugh at me? And I'm like, I don't know, it's just because it's not you. Like you know, it was just funny that he was so into it.
Well, you mentioned them before, the volunteers, and I think that's, for me, being you know, the kind of the producer of this event, and just taking that step back and watching how these relationships have blossomed over the years. You especially have taken to, you mentioned them, the Hoochies, Barb and Sharon, of course, Jody there as well. And I just think that it's really neat the way that you connected with some of these folks from the Red Cross.
Yeah, I mean, these are lifelong friends, right? Barb and Sharon are much older than me, but they are lifelong friends, especially now during this quarantine. I think I check in with them all the time. Oh, look for my rehearsal dinner. Yeah, Dawn from the costumes, and Mary Swanson, who is so supportive, her and her husband Dave, so supportive of the Red Cross and of Rock and I. And really, yeah, I mean, it is, I think, yeah, the dancing was fun and the fundraising was great, but really the lifelong friendships and the amazing people that I got to meet and now call friends really kind of is what made everything so special.
Well, you're special to us, and we appreciate you joining us on the DWOS Diaries, Em.
Thanks for having me. Let's go get a dance in sometime, Sean.
All right.
I mean, you're a dancer too.
I am a dancer. The only 3-time participant, Emily Matesic. Take it easy, Em.